We've almost learned all the poses that will be in your asana review, except for your inversions. So I thought I just would check in with you guys on maybe if there's some poses you would like for me to go with you today. Maybe a bigger arm balance that you've had in mind that you might want to do for your pose review. I mean, your asana analysis. Okay. Maybe something like Tadibhasana or flying pigeon or one of the more advanced arm balances. Okay. Or I thought we could also, or do a bit of both, we could go through an inversion. So you maybe would like to take headless headstand or handstand for one of your pose analysis poses to go through and just analyze how you are doing the pose. So do we have any votes?
Handstand.
Can you sequence a headstand?
Absolutely.
I'd like to be able, in my lifetime, to do a handstand.
So do you want to talk a little bit about those inversions? Because most likely you'll take one or the other to do a little bit of analyzing on. Whether you're just building strength for it, or maybe you want to kick up against the wall, or maybe you want to balance in the middle of the room. So there's many different levels to those inversions, and often our students pick an inversion to work on for their pose analysis. Okay. So shall we do a headless headstand today? So you're probably wondering why we call it headless headstand. It's because we teach headstand, this version, like this, but with your head off the ground. Okay, because your neck is not designed to really take all your body weight on your neck. Okay, so we would prefer that you actually built up some really good shoulder strength and arm strength to be able to balance upside down using your arms and not your neck. Okay, so it's a little bit trickier and there's quite a few different components to it. So let's discuss headless headstand. If you want to follow in your manual, you can. It is there. I'll find the page number for you.
153.
Thank you, 153. Lamba Sirshasana, supported headstand. We call it headless headstand because you're going to do it with your head lightly off the floor or well off the floor, depending on the length of your arms. Okay. So first of all, when it comes to going upside down and lifting your head off the floor, who do you think is going to be able to lift their head off the floor a little bit easier?
People with long arms.
Absolutely, Lynn. So everybody, can you see yourself in your camera screen? Take your arms up like this. Okay. And I want you to press up so your shoulders lift a little bit up towards your ears. Interlace your fingers, so clasp your hands, and those hands are going to be behind your head. Okay. So in your screen now, you're going to imagine this will be your positioning upside down. Have a look how long your upper arms are. Are your elbows able to stick up above your head, or is your head a little bit higher than your arms? So let's see here. So can you guys, are you all in gallery view? Can you see each other?
No.
If you look, this is quite interesting just to have a look, see it everyone. So come back into this. Have a look at Celine, okay? You see Celine there? Her elbows are way higher than her head. Can you see that?
Mm-hmm.
So her head is going to be able to lift off the floor really easily. Okay, and then have a look at Micah and Andrea over there in the screen. And look at Micah's elbows. Can you see her head is a little bit higher than her elbows, right?
Mhm.
And then kind of look at yourself and see where you fall in between that. So Mika as well is also, her head is also a little bit higher than her arms. So she hasn't got crazy long arms like some of you.
Does Gary have long arms?
Gary does have long arms. You can see his elbows are sticking out well above his head. Chloe, only just. And Roxy, bring your elbows back a little bit. Roxy also, her head is sticking a little bit higher than her arms. So she hasn't got the longest arms, okay? And it doesn't really matter, but it means you might have to adapt a little bit according to your body's proportions, okay? So if we look at Celine, she's going to be able to push down and her head's going to have loads of space to be off the floor, right? But now if Micah does the pose, she might struggle to lift her head off the floor. So I'm going to say to you, Micah, if you do this again, and then you're going to look up a little bit, okay? Yes. And that is going to help you create a little bit of space to keep your head off the floor. Okay, sometimes you have to lift away a little bit. So what pose does that end up looking like a bit? Also an inversion. Which inversions do we look up?
Dolphin. It's a dolphin.
Like a dolphin, yeah, absolutely. More like a dolphin pose and more like your Pincha Mayurasana, which is your forearm balance like this, which is a bit of more of a back bend. Okay, so if your head struggles to clear the floor, it may mean that you have to look up just a little bit, okay, which means you might just lift your nose a touch to keep your head off the ground. Okay. So that's a very important factor to make note of, is your length of arms. Okay. Then another component, what actions do you think we should be doing with our arms, with our shoulders when we go upside down? We do something similar in downward dog.
Pushing down.
Pushing down. Yes. So when we push down, our shoulders lift a little bit towards the ears. Okay. So your main focus there is to push down. Okay. We're going to feel that in a second just on the mat. And then lastly, I'm going to talk a little bit about the hands for now. There's lots to talk about. So you've got options how you want to clasp your hands. And because we're doing it with our head off the floor, it doesn't matter as long as it feels comfortable for you. So a lot of the time you're going to interlace your fingers like this so that your palms are clasped, and that is going to feel the most stable to then push down through your forearms. Whereas you may have done headstand before, where you have that little basket shape where your palms are rounding into like a little ball. And they often use that because you're putting your head on the floor and that's shaping the back of your head. But if you're lifting your head off the floor, your head might not be in that little basket. Okay, so I want you to try it. Most of you are going to prefer fingers and hands clasped like this. Okay, and because you're going to be pressing and lifting your head away from your hands, is going to feel the most stable. Okay, unless you've done headless or headstand or headless headstand before and you like the little basket. And if that works for you, that's also cool. Okay, any questions on that at this point?
I'm just afraid we can get injured.
You're not going to get injured. I'm going to show you how to do it very safely. That you're just going to walk your feet up the wall a little bit and do like a plank on the wall. Okay, until you feel that you're strong enough in your shoulders to be able to go further. So you don't even need to even go upside down today if you don't want to. We're just going to work all the components of the pose, and I promise I'm going to get all of you into a shape of the pose in a very, very, very safe way. Okay. So now all I want you to feel is we're going to put our elbows on the floor and we'll have a look. Before we go, one more thing. If your elbows are wider than your shoulders, you're not going to have nice, strong columns to balance on, okay? So you need to check when you place your elbows that your elbows are underneath your shoulders. So Belinda, I saw you going like this trick, which is often seen as a way to get your arm shoulders, doesn't work for everyone. Because look, if you have longer forearms, you're going to be too wide. Okay, so it doesn't work for everyone. You need to use your eyes and look and see. Yes, Natalie, just like that. And then on that note, when you place your forearm on the floor, your skin rolls, okay? Your skin moves. Okay, because you know I'm a bit of a control freak now. And sometimes you place your arms and then your skin rolls and then your elbows are a little bit too wide again, okay? So have a look at what I'm gonna do and then we'll do it all together in a second. Okay, so what I'm gonna do, just showing you from here, is I'm gonna clasp my hands. I'm gonna look down and check my elbows underneath my shoulders. But now my skin has rolled so that my elbows are too wide. Can you see that? So I'm gonna say tuck your elbows in a little bit closer and then roll to where your skin grips the mat. It's pedantic, but I wouldn't want to go upside down and then my elbows are too wide and then I can't push down nicely to make sure I feel strong in the pose and lift my head off the floor. So you're going to interlace your fingers. See if you can just clasp hands. It's going to feel nice and stable. And just here, kneeling on the floor, you're just going to push your elbows down, see where your skin grips the mat and where you can keep your elbows shoulder distance apart. And then I want you to do a little sink, which is what we don't want. And then you're going to push down and feel that push of your elbows into the floor and your shoulders are going to lift up. Okay, so let's just think about the base. So come to kneeling on your mat on all fours. I'll come with you and get you there. Come onto your elbows. And clasp your hands, interlace your fingers, and push down through your forearms, okay? Now, notice how your skin rolls. Just for fun, just roll your elbows in and out. Can you feel how there's a bit of play there? Mm-hmm. Okay, so now tuck your elbows in maybe a little bit closer so that when your skin rolls out, your elbows have really, your skin and your elbows have gripped the mat. And your elbows are directly underneath your shoulders. So your upper arms should be pointing straight down from your shoulders. Can you see that? Have a good look. Okay, now like that, you're gonna just sink your chest towards the floor, what we don't want, okay? And now do the opposite and push your elbows down, push your elbows and forearms into the floor, and notice how you're switching on muscles around your shoulders. Can you feel that?
Yeah.
Do that a couple times. Sink what we don't want. And then push your elbows into the floor. Push down. Good. And little sink. And then push your elbows into the floor. Can you feel that push?
Yeah.
Good. Can you feel how active you feel there?
Yeah.
Okay. And then come down and release. And tell me if you have any questions on the setup of your base.
What do you do with the little fingers?
Yes, so there's a go. If your little fingers feel like they get in the way, for me, it feels fine. You can tuck one little finger in. Can you see that, Lynn? Mm-hmm. You tuck one little finger in. You might find, like me, over time, I've just gotten used to it. But if it's a problem, your one little finger can come into your, out of the way, or stick out. So I want you to explore the ideal positioning for your hands, your elbows, your shoulders. And I want you to be able to feel the push down of your forearms. Wendy, you have a question?
Sorry, Laura, is your are your arms a little bit to the front, or are they in line? Is it
In line,
almost like a
Wendy.
line?
And it'll depend when we go upside down on a whole bunch of stuff. But you're gonna, for now, just have your elbow and your upper arm with your shoulder in one straight line.
Because I actually feel, I don't feel so scared if it's a little bit forward than what I am when it's like 90.
Correct, Wendy, you don't want it in too close towards you.
Yeah,
But
okay.
if we lift the hips, it's gonna all just slot into place.
All right. Okay, thanks.
All right. And then I also want to say, if you're in long sleeves, your sleeves will slide, okay? So ideally, you want your skin gripping on your mat, and hopefully you have a nice sticky mat that you can feel like your skin is gripping. Okay, long sleeves tend to slip. Okay, now we're not going up yet. We're going to do a little dolphin pose. Sometimes dolphin is actually harder. Dolphin is in some ways harder in strength to hold than being upside down, okay? So it's not the most awesome prep for headstand. It does help you just for a moment to feel the push down. Okay, so what we're going to do next, I'll show you, and then we'll go together. Okay, still spotlight. So again, I don't want you to rush. You're just going to interlace your fingers again. Bring your elbows underneath your shoulders to where your skin grips the mat. Okay, you're going to sink and then push and feel like I'm pushing down nicely. Then you're going to tuck your toes and walk in a little bit in your dolphin. And I want you to feel like you can push down and have your head off the floor. Okay, and then just feel the push, head off the floor. Okay, and then we'll talk about more about the push. So just taking it one step at a time. So now slowly interlace your fingers, no sleeves if you can. Tuck your elbows into where your skin grips the mat and your elbows are underneath your shoulders. Push your forearms down and then tuck your toes and walk your feet in a little. Okay. Walk in, and then I want you to feel that you're pushing away, that your head is off the mat. If your head feels like it has no space to lift, Mika, Micah, then lift your head up a little bit and look at just a little bit towards your hands. Let's have a look there. Yes, just like that, Mika. Can you feel just slightly lifting the nose will give you way more space. Or slightly resting your forehead on towards the top of your hands is also an option. Looking good, everyone. Looking good. Keep pushing down, pushing down, pushing down, pushing down, pushing down, pushing down. Head off the floor. Candy, head off the floor even more. Yes, head off the floor. Okay, and then release and come down. How is your stable base feeling?
Better.
Good.
Very sore.
Okay.
Very sore. And
Very sore. Okay, so you're feeling strength. Your arms are working, Celine. Okie dokie. So take a little breather. There's a lot to think about there. So make any notes that you want to. The biggest thing is not having your elbows too wide, feeling your head is off the floor, and that you are pushing down. Okay. Then I'm going to show you a very, very, very safe, fun version to help build your strength using the wall. So if you are near a wall, please make sure you've got a wall handy near you. I'll show you first. Finish making whatever notes you want. And then, yeah, I'll talk about the hamstring component of this pose next, which is a very big thing. Who would have thought hamstrings come into play in such a huge way for headless headstand and handstand, which I'll discuss after this. Okay. Yes, Mika, that's looking better. Keep the push down. Yes, Mika, that looks awesome. Strong, beautiful. Okay, so using the wall helps us to build strength. So have a look at what I'm going to show you here. So I'm not going to be super close to the wall, okay? I'm going to be facing away from the wall, and the wall is behind me, okay? I'm going to think about start doing a forearm plank using the wall, okay? So I'm going to tuck my elbows in, make sure my elbows are underneath the shoulders, clasp my hands and push down through my forearms, and then I'm going to lift one leg up and put it on the wall, okay? See how that feels? Keep the push. My head is well away from my hands. And then I'm going to take my other leg back. And I'm going to lower my hips so that I'm in a plank position. I'm not going to stick my bum out in the air because I'm not going to build any strength like that. You're going to come into plank. Bum down, push into your elbows, and hold in a forearm plank with the wall. Okay. So everybody can do this version. Want to give it a go? Okay. So you don't have to be super close to the wall. It's just going to give you a sense of the strength and the actions in the pose. In some ways, a little bit harder. So it's going to build your strength. So now go slowly. Don't rush the setup. Interlace your fingers. Tuck your elbows in. Make sure your elbows have gripped the mat and not too wide. Wheel my elbows in a little bit closer maybe. Okay, now one foot up against the wall. Just feel it on one foot. Keep the push in your arms. Keep the push. Now leave your pelvis pretty much, keep that leg straight there, Candy. Your leg that's gone up on the wall, make it straight. Yes, if you need to shuffle a little bit further, that's okay. And when you feel okay, then you can step both feet onto the wall. Now push down through your elbows. Lower your hips so that you're more in plank. Yes, don't stick your bum out because you'll feel your nose not building strength with your bum out in the air. Push into your elbows. Good, Nicole L, don't land in a back bend. Tuck your bum a little bit. Round your back a little bit so you're not in a back bend. Yes, that's better. Keep the push, keep the push, keep the push. Head off the floor. Okay. Chloe, bum down. Think more plank. Yes, Chloe, that's it. Okay, and then come down and take a little break. How was that?
It's not so bad.
It's not so bad. Can you feel how your shoulders are really working? And you're not relying on your neck and your head at all. And you're building some awesome strength in your shoulders. Okay, so as you got more comfortable with that and felt a little bit stronger, you could go a little bit closer to the wall. So maybe you would come in a little bit closer so that you were in a little bit more. So you've increased that angle of it. Okay, so I recommend doing this for a while to build up your confidence as well as your strength. Okay, and if this is your first time doing it, I recommend just go to there today. Okay, you'll do it again, but I'm going to show you one more version. Okay. In your assessment, you can do your headless headstand like this. Okay. So there's no pressure. Look, you all did it. You all were safe and you all getting strong. Okay. But now there's loads of other ways. So we'll chat. Nicole L.
I think I forgot to breathe there, Laura.
It's very hard to breathe upside down. I think we're all a bit guilty of that. You'll just take little breaths.
Yeah.
Okay, so over the next week, build your strength doing headless headstand this way. And as you get more brave, maybe you go closer to the wall until you feel, okay, I got this. Okay, I'm going to show you one step up from that. Okay, just so that you know what's coming for future. And if you feel really confident, maybe you've done headstand before, I'm going to show you the next step. You don't have to do it. Okay, I don't want you rushing into it, rather build the strength in that first version. Okay, so, but we need to have this discussion around the hamstrings for headless headstand. Why are hamstrings so important? Why do we need to warm our hamstrings up in order to do a headstand? Any guesses?
For the left. For the left.
The kick up.
Yes, to be able to kick up. Okay, and more importantly, be able to walk in first and then kick up. So it's actually a huge component to doing a headless headstand. Okay, so this is where if your hamstrings are a little bit tighter, you might need more momentum. So if you walk in from like into dolphin from here and you want to kick your feet up, you're going to need more momentum to get up, as opposed to if you walk your feet in over here and then you're going to do a little kick up. So I will show you what that looks like so you can see what the hell I'm talking about. Okay. So if you're doing this, you would only do it with the wall behind you so that I know that you're safe, because I'm not there to catch you, okay? Otherwise, you're not going to do this pose until you feel comfortable. But let me show you what I mean about the hamstrings. Okay. So I interlace my fingers, I tuck my elbows in, and I roll to where the skin grips the mat, and I make sure I feel strong here. And then I lift my hips up and I walk in, okay? If I can walk in a lot because my hamstrings are quite long, can you see how my hips are already over my shoulders? So now I'm just lifting one leg and I do a little hop and I'm up. Okay, not much momentum required. What if my hamstrings were a little bit tighter and I wasn't able to walk in, that my bum goes over my shoulders? This is what it'll look like. So I walk into here. Now, can you see how much more I have to kick? You see my bum is not over my shoulders. It's fine. All you need is more momentum to kick up. You have to do a bigger kick to find the wall. Okay. So this is why, if you're doing a sequence where I was teaching headstand or handstand, and I wanted you to kick up against the wall or in the middle of the room, future stuff, we would actually spend a lot of time working your hamstrings. Okay. Does everyone want to give that a go? Only if you're feeling strong in your shoulders. Maybe you've done this before. For those just gone upside down for the first time today, maybe just watch. There's no pressure, okay? And I don't want you to rush this. First of all, no sleeves, so that you don't slip. Okay, don't rush your support. That's it, Mika. Oh, yay. Push down so your head is off the floor. You're going to tuck your toes, walk in nice and close. Make sure your elbows are not too wide. Okay, maybe you're just holding it there. Okay, make sure there's a wall behind you. Walk in as close as you can. The closer you walk in, the less momentum you need. Okay. Now feel the push down of your elbows to take you up. The more you push down, the more strength you're using. Okay. Yes. Just feel the push down. That's it. Head is off the floor. Maybe you need more momentum. Maybe you need less momentum. Maybe you're going, oh my God, these people are crazy. I'm just going to sit and watch. That's also perfect. Okay. And then if you've popped up, I know it's very fun and addictive, come back down. Yes, go for it, Andrea. You're right there. Go for it again if you want. Okay. So, of course, if you were doing this in the middle of the room, it's a whole nother ball game. So we're not even going to go there yet today. Okay. We're just talking about a stable base, getting used to doing it with your head off the floor. Even if you have done this pose in the middle of the room before, it's going to feel different with your head off the mat. I'm going to highlight Cinchi here because she's going for it. Keep going, keep going. Go for it, because you can just demo. Okay, very long hamstrings. When she walks in, she's going to straighten one leg up. There you are. She's not going to use too much momentum. Go up like you were with one straight leg, Cinchi. Yes. Can you see that? How she's almost doing a split to go over. And not using much momentum.
She's got long legs.
Yeah, she does. Okay, don't worry about it, Cinchi. But that is how you would want to slowly push up into the middle of the room. And you could also see her doing it with her knees bent into her chest the first time. If your hamstrings weren't super long and you couldn't just do splits to go overhead, that would be another way. Okay, but we'll discuss that another time. For now, all I want you to feel is the plank on the wall and pushing up. Nice, Chloe, that's it. That's it, Gary. If you've been able to balance in this pose before, it may just take some adjusting to feeling it with your head off the ground. Okay. Nicole, you have a question?
I did find this version easier than the previous version. I don't know why.
It's so right, Nicole. So doing plank on the wall requires more strength. So this is why I like you to do that in the beginning so that you're super, super strong. We build the strength. And then when you actually do the headstand and you are stacking vertically, because your joints are stacking, it's actually requiring less strength. But it's nice to have that strength in your shoulders to be able to do that first. It's just safe.
I felt it a lot in my shoulders with the first putting your feet up the wall. And with this one, when I actually lifted my legs, it wasn't that heavy of a load in the first version.
You are so right, because your legs on a diagonal like this are going to feel heavy on your shoulders. And it's the more vertical you get, the lighter you are.
Yeah.
So I put you in a harder version actually first, but a slightly less scary version. And I always say build the strength. I don't mind if it's hard strength ways. So you're so right, Nicole. Micah, you have a question?
Yes, actually, I find kicking up quite easy, but I always learned that you have to like slowly walk into it, then left one leg, then the other leg, and I can't do that. I just can't kick up and get in, but the other one is so much more difficult for me. So what's your point of view on this? That you get in slowly and just like really wriggle your way up, or is kicking totally fine?
So it's a step-by-step process, Micah. So kicking up is totally fine just to get you up so that you can feel what you're doing in the pose. And not everyone has the luxury of super long hamstrings to be able to gracefully push into it on the first time. So I say first plank on the wall, then kick up. Use momentum to get yourself up into the pose. When you feel strong, then start to do it slower and slower by just using the power of the push down. So I totally agree, but every step has its place.
Okay, great. Thanks.
Yeah, and as you get stronger, then you use less momentum to get into the pose. And then you just push down, like you were seeing Cinchi doing. She was trying to push to take those legs over using less momentum. So both is fine, and it depends. If you have tight hamstrings, that's never going to happen in splits. You may have to bring your knees into your chest a little bit, and then like a little ball roll up. So it also depends on the person, the level of the strength, and also the confidence to go upside down. So you've got lots of options. Did that answer your question, or just give you more questions?
No, perfect. Thanks.
Yeah. Gary, and then we'll come to you, Roxy.
What is the difference between this and forearm stand?
Exactly. So great question, Gary, and I knew it was going to come up. This is kind of like a hybrid now. So because your head is off the floor, it looks a little bit more like a forearm stand. So it's in between. It's a blend of head on the floor, then head off the floor, and then forearm balance, you'd be looking up. And the biggest difference is forearm balance is a back bend. Because you're looking up, you are much more in like a banana shape, where the headless headstand, you can still be straight.
So in a forearm balance, we should be looking forward.
Correct. You're in a forearm balance, and we'll chat about it next weekend as well. I normally have my hands placed a little bit differently, but you can also do forearm balance like this. Both are fine. But the classical forearm balance, your hands are placed like this on the mat, and I'm looking up a little bit towards my thumbs.
Right.
So the neck is a little bit more an extension, and the back is more of a back bend. So that's the biggest difference. But this way of doing headless headstand is actually building your shoulders up for pincher, the forearm balance. So it actually is building more strength for forearm balance and handstand, then just balancing on your head, which is easy and bad for your neck. That makes sense?
Yeah, thank you.
Cool. Roxy?
Okay, so I felt it quite a bit in my lower back. So obviously going up, I was quite conscious to pull my shoulders out and not slouch into my shoulders, which I was doing, but then I felt that I was hanging in my lower back quite a bit. Is that a normal sensation to feel? And is there anything you can do to correct that?
It's such a valid thing, Roxy. So now we're kind of talking about the next step. Now that you're at the wall, because you're upside down, your proprioception, so your awareness of where you are in space, is a little bit more confused. And I'll show you what everybody does in when they go upside down for the first time, or just what everyone does is you get up onto the wall and then you do this. You stick your ribs out. Can you see that, Roxy?
Yeah.
What you do is bring your ribs in. Because if I tell you tuck your bum or bring your ribs in, it's very confusing. So Roxy, do this. Okay. What you're going to do upside down is you're going to stick your ribs out. And I know you, because you hang in your downward dogs, you're going to do this even more. You're going to think you're bringing your ribs in, and your back ribs are going to come towards the wall. So that when you kick up upside down, you're not sticking your ribs out, you're bringing your ribs a little bit into the wall and maybe slight sensation of tucking your bum. And it's also because you're using the wall that your feet are slightly behind you. If you come off the wall, you actually find a straighter stack.
Okay, fine. And then you won't be hanging into it too much. Okay, that makes sense. I'll try.
It's also because you're using the wall, you're in a little banana, but you're safe for now. So I want you all doing that. But then, Roxy, bring your ribs in and take 1 foot off the wall and make it straight. Do you want to give it a go? You mind if I spotlight you?
No, not at all.
Cool. So Roxy is moving into her headless headstand. She's making sure her elbows are tucked in, fingers are clasped, tucking her toes, lifting hips up into like downward dog legs and walking in a lot. Walk in, walk in, walk in. Her head is off the floor. She's going to take one leg up, and because her hamstrings are quite long, she's going to do a little spring. Can you see? So here for Roxy, think of bringing feet on the wall for a moment. Bring your ribs in. Yes. Can you feel that?
Yeah.
So ready, we'll take it out your back. Now 1 foot off the wall, straight up to the ceiling. Tuck your bum, move your bum away from the wall. Yes. Now you're in a straight line. Can you feel that?
Yeah.
And you just start to get this sense of ribs in, bum away from wall, then maybe 1 foot, the other foot lifts off in time. Keep pushing down, keep your head off the floor. Yes. And then you start to get, yay, a little bit more awareness of where that straight line is. Could you feel your ribs in your bum? You got a perfectly straight stack there.
Yeah, and it made such a difference. Just like the thought of tucking in,
Yes.
I could immediately feel, because before, like my lower back was already starting to ache.
Yeah.
But now that sensation is completely gone. So
Sorry.
it makes a difference.
Okay, so always bum away from the wall and thinking ribs in are your mantras in these poses. Okay, once you got up, I mean, just getting up at this stage is the next step. Once you're up and then you start to find your balance, you bring your ribs in 1 foot off the wall. And then the other thing, you would be further away from the wall and you would try and slowly push yourself up using strength by pushing down. So I always like to say, try not use too much momentum. Try and use the power of the push. So if I'm coming a little further away from the wall, so you guys, when you're practicing, the wall is still there, so you don't pull backwards, okay, because that's not fun. Then I'm going to take one leg up, and all I'm going to think of doing is pushing, pushing, pushing. I'm just trying to push into my forearms, keeping head off the floor, slowly pushing, 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 pushing. Ribs in, reaching up. Okay, so that would be your final step. And you would do it with the wall for a little bit, okay? So that you know it's there, it's got you. And if hamstrings were a big issue, you could also bring your knees into like a little ball. 1 foot, other foot, Do your balance there. And then slowly unravel. Okay. But that'll come. Don't worry about that now. I'm happy with a forearm plank against the wall because all of these things are a process, right? It's a process of getting strong. And this is why we need to emphasize more strength in our yoga practice. It's not about stretching. It's not about getting flexible. It's about getting strong. Okay. So I recommend you take something like this to do your pose analysis on. Maybe it's headless headstand, maybe it's handstand, maybe you want to do a forearm balance so that you can practice building strength in your inversions. Always good. If you balance comfortably upside down, do splits upside down. There's always more.
I just get so afraid. I don't know. I've got like such fear.
I'm so glad you bring it up, Natalie. It's scary.
Yeah, my body was just like, no, I'm not doing it. Like, I don't know.
That's okay. And it's time. The more time you spend going into these poses and going upside down, the more your body gets comfortable with it. And also, the stronger you are, your body goes, oh, okay, we've got enough strength for this.
Okay.
If your shoulders aren't feeling strong, your body's going to go, we're not ready.
Okay.
And a useful tip, Natalie, okay, do your planks against the wall, okay? Because it's harder and you're going to build awesome strength, okay? And I don't have a corner, but if this was a corner of the room, okay, you would kick up in the corner, which is less scary because you got this wall, you got this wall, and you would come into it like this, yeah? And you feel quite safe because your arms are in the corner.
Okay.
And you know that you can't fall either side or backwards.
Okay.
And can also help a little bit around fear. And everything you're experiencing right now is completely normal and totally relevant. And everybody feels this way.
Okay.
And all your students are going to feel this way. And you have to find ways to just get used to it. So plank holds are great to build that strength. It's probably the biggest factor. Your shoulders just need to be stronger. And Natalie has very long legs. She's tall. So she's going to have to use quite a bit of momentum to get your legs up to the wall. And momentum can also make it a bit more scary. If you had little tiny legs, there's less momentum to kick up. So just enjoy the process because you will get it. You will get it. So learn from this. Learn from these challenges of overcoming fear, which is completely relevant. You're going upside down. It's not something we naturally do. And it'll come. I promise. Nicole?
I have a question. I feel like I have really short arms. It's up for debate. But when I go down, I know you said earlier, look at your hands. But the only way for me is to have my head almost hovering off the floor. Is that the right way?
That's totally fine, Nicole. You have to just adapt accordingly.
Okay.
I know Catherine actually also has the same problem. And she pushes her forehead a little bit in towards, can you see that? Into like the back of her hands.
Okay. So that's totally fine.
Totally fine. Totally fine.
Okay.
Because you just got to adapt accordingly. And when I see you in smaller groups and we do this, I'll also have a look. And Nicole, if you want to send me a picture and just go look at what I'm doing, I'm happy for that as well. But that's fine. You just got to push down and then just find a place for your head to be where it's off the floor and there's not too much strain on your neck.
Okay.
Okay. But it's a factor. And this is why before we even did anything, we looked at our arm lengths because we're all different. Okay. Any other questions? Okay. So what do we want to do next? Do you want to do some arm balances? Do you want to do handstand? I know you chatted a lot about handstands with Catherine. Is it something you might want to choose as your pose? Any requests? Who wants to do handstands? Yeah? Cool. And then we maybe do some arm balances as well. Your arms are going to be lacquer tied. So in your session, you discussed handstands, right? Tell me what you learned. I'm just going to turn my lights on.
Shoulder,
Wrist.
shoulder, shoulder,
What do we need to do a handstand? What do we-
shoulder strength.
Shoulder strength. So this is why a headless headstand comes first. Build your strength in those shoulders, right? What is the difference between headless headstand and handstand?
With the headstand, you can draw strength from your forearm.
Yep, there's more surface area on the floor. Handstand, very little surface area of you on the floor, just your hands. So that's going to make balance very different and a bit harder. Okay. So we need to build wrist strength. Okay, in all these arm balances and for handstand as well. How do we build wrist strength?
Weight bearing.
Exactly, by weight bearing, by using them, progressively loading over time. So things we started off the course, we were just holding plank, right? And then we were moving a little bit more into chaturangas. Then we were doing crow poses. And over time, we've spent more time and more weight on our wrists. Okay. And then we hopefully are building what arm strength for handstands?
Forearm.
Forearms, yes, definitely to balance.
Shoulders.
Shoulders. Triceps and lats, okay? So it's push strength, the strength you build by pushing away, as opposed to pull strength like you would do like bicep curls. Opposite. We're doing push strength. Okay. So then again, hamstrings. Why are hamstrings useful for inversions?
The kick up.
Yeah, to be able to walk in, first of all. Walk in first, little triangle, then kick up. Less momentum required, the more you can walk in. If you've got a longer triangle, more momentum. So it just changes things. Longer legs, more momentum. Shorter legs, maybe less momentum, but it also depends, not always. Okay, so again, I'm going to show you strength building version. Plank on the wall, which is quite fierce and very good to build your strength. Okay, so for handstand, we want to get ourselves strong in order to go upside down. So first, you don't have to start too close to the wall. Just as you did before, you're going to do like you did with your forearms. Don't stick your bum in the air. You're not going to build any strength like that. You want to hold plank. And as you feel stronger, maybe a little bit safer, maybe closer, and then plank. And then maybe a little bit closer and plank. Okay, make sure you save yourself enough strength because you're going to need to walk out of it as well. So I don't mind if you're holding here or closer up the wall. Okay. Let's briefly discuss the hands and then I'll talk more about the wrists in the next version. What are your hands doing in handstand?
As in downward dog.
And the shoulders.
Different, Lynn. Different to downward dog because downward dog we're pushing away and our hands are kind of flat. In handstand we want to activate our hands more.
And the fingertips.
Yes. You're going to grip with your fingertips, these little pads of your fingers. And you're going to have little spider hands. They're going to like, it's very weird for me to find a position. But they're going to grip and be like little spider hands. You're going to have to feel that. It's hard for me to show you. So push into your fingertips. You'll feel your little inner palm over here almost suctions up a little bit. Fingers spread, push into your pads of your fingers, grip the mat. Just to build a bit of that strength. It really comes into play when you're trying to balance in the middle of the room. Okay, do you want to try plank with your feet up the wall? Okay, so come to your wall. Spread your fingers. Push the mat away. And then step into your plank. Okay, make sure your bum's not sticking up in the air. Your arms must be straight. No bending in the arms for handstands. Strong, straight arms. Push into your fingertips, grip your mat. Bum down, feel like you're in plank. Good, now hold like this if this is enough. Michelle, do you want to try with your feet up the wall a little bit? There you are. If you're feeling super comfortable, maybe walk your hands 1 hand's distance closer. It's tough, I'm warning you, don't go too close, it's nasty. Now push, Mika, push the mat away. Push, and grip the mat. Nice, Cynthia, nice, Chloe, that's looking great. Feel that plank, and then gently come down. The closer you walk to the wall, the harder it gets. It takes more weight onto your shoulders and is an awesome way to build strength. You're huffing and puffing there, Natalie. I like your honesty.
Strangely enough, Laura, I actually find it easier to be fully straight.
Yeah, so absolutely, Jamie, as you get more and more vertical, it's like less like holding plank and you stack a lot more.
Yeah.
So you're absolutely right.
My wrists.
Yeah. The wrist work gets harder the closer you get to the wall. So this is the process. So you have to do a little bit every day or every second day and build that strength. So maybe this is something you can include into your practice. When you're practicing your poses, take some more holds. First on your elbows, like a headless headstand, and then on your hands. Okay. Listen to your body, rest if you need to. For handstand, then we have to bring in the component of kicking up. Okay. So again, a little momentum to get up. Though you don't have to do this, you can also watch. I'll show you and then you can give it a bash only if you want to. I'm perfectly happy with plank holds and then getting closer and closer to the wall. So the trick is, all right, you need to start over your wrists. Okay, so here comes in that wrist conditioning. You need to make sure your wrists feel quite strong. So have a look. I'm going to give myself a little bit of space away from the wall. So that when I walk in, can you see how my shoulders are leaning past my wrists? Can you see that?
Yeah.
Now I'm already in a little wrist stretch. If I start in downward dog, it's not going to happen. Okay? You need to come forward so my shoulders are already stacking over my wrists, and then you kick up. Okay? So that, first of all, has to happen in order to get up. You need to walk in, lean your shoulders past your wrists. Secondly, you need to look forwards a little. Okay? So remember your drishti, like we have for our arm balances, like we do in crow, we look forwards. So the same thing here. I look forwards, I'm looking about here, just past my hands. Okay? It's easier to look forwards. More advanced handstand balances will drop their head, but they have to train for that. Okay, that's not gonna happen right away. You need to look forwards to help you get into the pose. So I'm gonna spread my fingers, pointer finger pointing forwards, walk in so that my shoulders are over my ribs and I'm looking forwards. Take one leg up and now you're gonna have to jump off your bottom leg. So your bottom leg is like a little spring. Yeah? And then I'm gonna find the wall and bring both legs up. So if my bottom leg doesn't lift, I'm not gonna get up. So you jump off your bottom leg and your second leg needs to come up quite quick. In the studio, I normally clap my hands and go, legs must be up, up, if you want to get up. Okay. So watch if you want, or do another plank hold against the wall. If you want to give it a go, I'll instruct you for a handstand kick up against the wall. Please don't overwork yourself. If plank hold is more beneficial for you today, please do that to build your strength. If you're feeling crazy and want to go for a handstand, bring your hands a little bit further away from the wall so that you have space to lean your shoulders over your wrists. Okay, start with your shoulders over your wrists. Look forwards. One leg up and start to feel a little kick. Yes. Feel the little hops, and then if you're kicking up all the way, quickly with the bottom leg, kick both legs up. Yes. Then you find the wall, you push, and you hold for strength. Yes.
Long way to go.
Once you're finding your balance, you take one foot off the wall like you saw Roxy do. Then you bring the other foot off the wall. But ideally, you actually need to be a little bit further away from the wall potentially. Hey, Desi, look at you go. To find your balance. If you want to progress this, you come further away from the wall. And then further away from the wall so that you slowly start using the wall less and you try and catch a balance. Push into your hands. Grip with your fingers there, Jamie. Grip it with your hands. Hold it in your hands. Once you're up, grip. Yes. I can't see what your legs are doing, but use those hands. Nice, Roxy. That's it, Wilma. Big kick. And then push the floor away. Dead straight arms. You never want to bend your arms in handstands. Push straight arms. Okay, well done, everyone, and come down. It's very addictive. So I have to make you stop. Otherwise, you'll go all night for those that enjoy this kind of thing.
Laura, I have a question.
Yes, go for it, Michelle.
The hardest part for me was my head, the blood rushing to my head, feeling ill and unwell, and it was my head, actually. I concentrated second time round about, was it shoulders, wrists? Everything was fine physically apart from my head. So I was changing from looking forward to looking down, but I couldn't quite.
Yeah, so absolutely, Michelle. So little bits at a time to just slowly get used to that. So don't overdo it. If it's feeling too strong in your head, come down and just take a break. But you'll feel the more you kind of do this kind of work, the more time you spend upside down, your body just gets used to it. But totally normal, totally normal. And best just to take it easy and don't force it.
Okay.
And then just come back to maybe like a wall hold where you're not in something too intense and looking a little bit forward so there's less blood rushing to your head.
Okay.
Okay, just take it slow. One day at a time. This is like journey work. Remember I was saying with the back bends? It's a little bit comes at a time, okay? And just enjoy the process. It's the best part. Once you have it, you're just going to move on to something else. There's always more. So just enjoy the process, enjoy the journey, enjoy what you're learning here with your body. You're doing very exciting, amazing things and getting strong.
Yeah.
Hi, Laura. I have a question, a quick one. In my yoga practice that I have learned, or yoga classes, the way that I've learned to sort of transition into a handstand is without the hands on the floor, then moving forward to little bunny hops, and I found that easier. Is that a good modification or not?
Are you starting with in a standing position, Nicole? So hands are up. Yes. I think it's great. So if you need more momentum to kick up, it works so well. So, and we use this a lot actually, Nicole. If the kicking up is not happening, okay, if you're still needing more momentum, we call it like the gymnastics way. Do you remember doing this as a kid? Yeah? It's a huge amount of momentum, and that kind of throws you up into handstand, and it works so well. Absolutely. I agree, Nicole.
I just wanted to know, because sometimes when I go down, you do have a fear, is something going to happen to my arms with all this weight? Maybe it's just in my head, but I thought I'd ask the question.
It's a really nice way to use momentum to get up. So, and then I would also say for strength building, do the wall holds so that your arms feel strong. And then for those that are actually quite strong, but it's a little bit scary or they need more momentum to get up, then we suggest that as well. Because it just kind of whacks you into a handstand.
Yeah. Thank you.
Pleasure, Nicole. Okay, so those are your 2 inversions that you will do in assessment, either walking up the wall, holding the plank, building the strength, or maybe you'll try kicking up. Maybe you want to take one of those poses to analyze and kind of play with and record yourself and look what you're doing and try overcome the fear, build the strength, look at what you need in order to help you get into those poses. Okay, huge fun. So let's take a very short break, bathroom break after inversions is often required. Can we do 5 minutes? Okay, so we say meet back at 5:10. It's just after 5 now. It's 7 minutes. And then we'll do some arm balancing. See you in a bit.
Time now.
Well, that was fun. It's normally always our favorite sessions, teaching you guys inversions.
Laura?
Yes, Belinda?
So of course, I know Catherine suggests that one of our poses be the pose we use in our sequencing. Yeah, peak pose sequencing. I can't imagine even thinking of putting a class together to teach a handstand though.
Handstand and inversions are hard ones to teach because you pretty much just have to do a load of hamstring work and forward folding. And there isn't a whole lot to work with. So like if you choose like quite a complex pose like we're going to do now, these arm balances, it works so well for sequencing because you've got knees hooking on arms and rounded shoulders and a more to work with. And where handstand sequence is pretty much, you're going to do some arm work, taking the arms up, maybe some stretches. You're going to do a whole lot of forward folding, like pyramid pose, warrior 3, standing splits, flowing through those, and then getting them to practice kicking up against a wall, maybe a little kick from a downward dog or a 3-legged dog. So there are stuff to do, but it's not as much as if you were to take something like, I know you guys broke down Titibasana, firefly with your legs out. There you've got more to work with. It does give you a little bit more to play with poses.
Thank you.
Although it is fun, it's good to challenge yourself. But taking a complex pose with lots of stuff going on, it makes it a bit easier. You wouldn't think, but it actually does make it easier to sequence for.
So I followed Catherine's program all through the beginning of lockdown. I actually did like the first series and a half, and I still couldn't hold up in the middle of the room. So,
well, I mean, holding in the middle of the room is quite something, Belinda. So that's,
I know, but that's what I wanted to do.
That's years of work.
I don't have years.
Rubbish. You always have lots of time to balance. Get it in your headstand first. Get your headless headstand balancing. Keep doing. You see Catherine's doing another handstand program, so hop on for the next one. Balancing in the little room is tough because it's not only strength, it's not only kicking up, it's skill work. It's about so much skill and refining to find that sweet spot, to find the grip, to catch the perfect balance. There's so much practice.
Huge respect.
Yeah, totally. Okay, are we all back yet? Okay. So we've done everything that you need to know for your assessment now. Isn't that cool? Maybe I'm more relieved. You've learned everything you need to learn. So this session will just be fun. Michelle?
Laura, I've got lots of different sheets and various documents that I've been sent through, and I'm a little bit embarrassed to ask this question in case everybody rolls their eyes, but where can I find one full list of all the poses that we have to know?
So it was sent to you in your homework requirements. One of the first emails you received, I don't have it here on my phone right with me now. It'll take me too long to find it. But if you look at the email that says homework and your requirements, it's in there and it's called Asana Review Poses.
Oh, it's the Asana Review document.
Correct.
So
Yeah,
all those poses listed on Asana Review we have to know.
Absolutely, you've got it. And you've got a list starting with lunge, lizard, high lunge, warrior 2. That document is what I started with you guys today and yesterday, going through for your Asana Review. So that's what you practice every week. And make sure that you can do all those poses as best you can. You look like a yoga teacher, so they must be.
Is that the list that has the English translations?
No, it's the list that starts with, says Asana Review, and then it says standing poses, not the one with the translations, Jamie.
Okay.
You probably can't see it so well.
No, I think I just haven't saved it, so I must find it on.
Just find it and save it. It's called Asana Review. It starts with lunge, lizard, warrior 1. Those are all the poses you'll be assessed on.
Laura?
Belinda?
So I see it starts with lunge. Is it talking about low lunge, high lunge? Low
Like we did yesterday with you. And you're going to do it so many more times with me, you're going to be so bored with all those poses. And I'm pretty much doing them in the same order every time. So exactly what you did yesterday, low lunge, lizard, warrior one, high lunge, all of that. We'll be doing in smaller groups, a lot more now. Okay.
Great.
Cool. Nicole?
So Laura, coming back to that question, I did sort of practice all of those poses throughout the whole week. So I was quite relieved this morning when we didn't do everything, because like twisted side crow, I was like, I'm definitely going to fail that. But are we then going to build on what we did today, and every week just build on more and more and more?
Exactly, okay. Nicole. Exactly. Okay. So today and some of those yesterday, I gave you quite a lot of instructions. I was correcting you. So I hope the next time I see you, I have to give you less correction, less instruction. I'm going to just say, step into high lunge, and it'll go a bit quicker. And then we'll be able to run through everything. It's going to get quite intense, but we'll add on more and more and more every time in those reviews. Okay. But today I really just wanted to check in with your standing poses, because those often need the most work. Okay, obviously crow and side crow, but that's work you have to do on your own. So keep practicing like you've been doing, Nicole. And if you're struggling with something like side crow still, take that as one of your poses to analyze. Okay, so do you want me to recap crow and side crow in any way? Because those are in your assessment.
Laura?
Side crow.
Side crow. Side crow. Lynn, were you asking something?
Yeah, I mean, I can't, I'm still working on crow. For the assessment, do I have to get into side crow? Because I think that might be a bit more of a process for me.
It is a process, Lynn, so I want you to make the shapes and try. If you don't lift your feet off the floor, cool, you're in part of the process, but you need to show me that you understand where to hook your elbow.
Okay.
How you're going to lean forwards, where you're going to be looking. So show me your understanding of the pose, whether or not your feet lift off the floor.
Okay, that's more helpful. Thank you.
Could we do crow as well, please, Laura?
Okay, let's do crow and side crow, and then I'll do some of the fancy ones as well. Sound good?
Yeah.
Okay, so starting with crow pose, do you want to come with me? Should we do it all together? Sure, you're bored of me doing poses. Let's do them together. Okay, so remember, with all arm balances, it's about leaning forwards, looking forwards, leaning forwards, okay? So you can start with your feet on a block. If you're still struggling with crow a little bit, do it with your feet on a block. It's gonna really help you to get the lean forwards. I'll come with you with that. If you're off the block, that's also cool. So we come from Malasana, squat, with feet together either on the block or on the floor. Bring your arms to the insides of your knees. And then drag your hands back and take your hands maybe even a little bit wider than shoulder distance. Especially the ladies with very narrow shoulders, just go a bit broader, okay? Now lift your chest up a bit so you're not too round. Lift your up onto the balls of your feet and look forwards. Lift your chest and start to lean forwards. Look forwards, lean forwards. That's it, Belinda. Good. Look forwards, lean forwards. One foot maybe lifts. Maybe the other foot lifts, but one foot is fine. Just start to feel the shelf you've created. Feel the lean. Yes, Kirsten, that looks great. You're so there. Stick your nose out more, Kirsten. Look forwards a bit. Yes, there. Now go again. Yes, you've got it. Yay! Look forwards, lean forwards. And if you're working with any wrist niggles, just go slow. Hey, Cynthia, look forwards, lift your chest, lean forwards. That's it. Hey, that looks good, Lynn. Nice. That's it, Renee. Yes. Go again if you want.
hands closer together or hands wider apart?
Hands wider apart. Hands wider apart. So shoulder distance, if not a wee bit wider.
Would you use the same kind of finger grip?
A little bit, Belinda, yes, it does help. A little bit of gripping with the fingers. Let's see, Michelle, go for it. Look forward. Lean forward. Lift your chest up a bit away from the floor. There. Slowly lean. There you are, you've got it.
Only 1 foot though.
That's okay. It'll come.
Okay.
It'll come.
Okay.
Yay. Most of you up in the air. And if you've had a little wrist niggle and it's setting you back, don't worry about it because you're getting strong again. And trust the process. You know who I'm talking to. Just go slowly because you don't want to hurt it again. Just slow a little bit. Yes, Gary, working the straight arm version now. Yes. I challenge you, Gary, to be able to do straight arms.
Laura?
I can see Gary.
Hi, Mika.
Does it ever get easier? Because, like, I've been getting grazes from my knees on my...
Oh, I know.
Like,
if you
it just
bruise
pulls on my skin.
If you bruise easily, your skin does toughen up.
Okay, cool.
It is really sore though, I know. So for the crow, you can have your knees a little bit more on the outside. So it's less painful. If you're doing like Gary, now you want to do the straight arm ones, you have to have knees more in the middle of the arm. So more like knees pointing on the tricep, which is more painful. If you have your knee on the outside, less painful. Which one are you doing, Mika?
Both have been quite intense.
It is sore. It is sore. It does get better, I promise.
Okay.
Yes,
awesome.
Gary, you got it. Now you just got to get used to you having your wrists there because it's very sore. Okay, take a little break. Yay, Lynn. And Lynn, just lift 1 foot. And then release and then lift the other foot. Same for you, Michelle. 1 foot, then the other foot. It's coming. It's a process. Nice, Jamie, try and bring your knees higher up to your armpits and work towards straighter arms. Because you're already moving into it. So knees up into your armpits, straight arms. Go for it. Yes, like that. There we are. Can you feel that? And start to push the mat away and straighten your arms. Just being mean now. Who's asking?
Oh, when I'm in crow, my one arm is straighter than the one that's bent. Does that mean one is stronger than the other?
Possibly. It's a little bit strange. I'm not quite sure. Maybe one's stronger than the other. Try and keep them fairly even so that you're not off to one side. It might be your bent arm is actually stronger and you're leaning on that one more.
Yes.
So balance that out if you can, Celine. Okay, well done, guys. Don't exhaust yourself. You've got a lot of arm balances coming your way. Okay. Side crow. So remember, you've got 2 versions of side crow. You can either do it on both elbows or you can do it on one elbow. Remember, if you want to do it on the block, you can as well. Try both. So maybe if you're sitting in your Malasana squat, let's do it together. Or if you need to watch as well, whatever you need. Either what's easiest first is 2 elbows under the thigh. Okay? So if I show you from the side, 2 elbows to the side. And then your hands are still in line with each other. You look forwards, you lean forwards, and you rest your thigh on your elbows like a shelf. Then your feet aren't going to just pop up like crow. You're going to have to lean, feel the shelf, and then shuffle your feet a little bit further away from you. And then stick your nose forwards, look forwards, and then lift your feet. You have to encourage your feet to walk away a little bit.
Wow.
Okay. Give it a go. Let's have a look-see. Hey, Cynthia. Nice.
Should I start with blocks first, Laura?
Give it a go. Let's tap your hands to the side. Let me have a look. Hook your elbows. Look forwards, lean forwards, rest your thigh on your elbows. Bend your elbows more, Lynn. Bring your chest closer to the floor. Yes. I think that's fine, Lynn. Just work like that. Now look more forwards, lean more forwards, and just feel the shape. Yes. Can you feel how you brought your chest lower, Lynn?
Yeah.
That's what you need to do. Chest goes down so feet can lift up. Yeah? Sometimes your nose gets quite close to the floor. We embrace that. Again.
Can you do it one at a time, Laura?
Can you do which one at a time?
That side crow again. Are you meant to straighten the one leg?
No.
Or both of them? Not at all.
No, side crow, legs stay together.
Okay.
That's all we'll be doing. And then there's just that fancy pose, which actually called another name, it's called Ekapada Kundalayasana. That's when the legs go out, but you don't need to be able to do that.
So it's the second picture along from the crow on page 124. Okay.
Yes.
So the legs stay bent.
The legs stay bent.
I might need to watch you again.
That's okay. I'm going to show you the one arm. Okay. I'll show you both one more time. So first of all, if I'm doing 2 arms, up elbows, and I place my hands. You see my hands are still in line with each other. Once my elbows are hooked, I'm going to lean forwards. Can you see how low my chest has come? My chest is now like in line with my hips. Then I need to shuffle my feet away and look forwards. If I look down, I'm going to go down. Look forwards, and then just slowly lifting the feet. Okay. I find that one harder because it's more of a twist. Okay. Then you can also do one arm. So I'm going to hook one arm over. I'm going to step my hand out. And I'm thinking of bringing my head over here. Okay, so I bring my head to the middle of my hands. I lower my chest. You have to bring your chest down, and then I lift the feet. For me, that one feels easier now. There's less of a shelf to balance on, but the feet pop up a little bit more willingly. But it depends on you. You have to figure out what's best for your body. Want to go again together? Yeah. So one arm or 2 arms, you decide. Find a good hook, either on both elbows or one elbow. Hands in line with each other. Look forward, lean forward, bring your chest lower. It's a lever, remember? Your chest has to go down for your feet to lift up. Look forward, bring your chest down. Maybe you shuffle your feet away. Maybe you lift both feet up. Feel the shelf, don't overdo it. Look forward there, Natalie. Stick your head more forwards. That's okay, good. That's okay, you just got to lean more as that back leg extends away from you. That's the challenge. Yeah. That's it, Cinchi. Good. That's it, Natalie. Better head alignment. Could you feel that? It's mostly about looking forwards. I know you hear me say that a lot. Stick your head forwards like you're sticking your head out like a tortoise. You really have to exaggerate that. And bring your chest lower to the floor. Okay, don't overdo it. Give your wrist a little break if you want. That's it, Roxy. Voila. Good. And then slowly. Don't dive into it. Go slowly. That's it, Jamie.
Wow.
Lean to extend that leg away more. Can you feel? Your nose comes very close to the floor when those legs start going out. Because you need to, it's a lever. It's like a seesaw. If you're lifting your seesaw high at the back, you got to lean more. That is the main thing about arm balances. You have to lean in order to lift your legs. And the bigger the arm balance, the more you got to lift your leg up at the back, the more you have to lean. Okay. Good. And then, Jamie, open your collarbones like chaturanga once you've got it. So you're not like completely collapsed. Your chest is still open. You're still keeping that little lift. Okay, rest. Crazy ones, rest. I know it's addictive. Relax. Relax. Yeah, you can practice this during the week. Give yourself a little off day tomorrow and then Tuesday. Okay, so you need to be able to do those as much as you can move towards the pose for your assessment. Okay? So if you're still struggling with one or the other, analyze it. It's going to be super interesting and super helpful. Most of you are right there, if not upper.
My one side is, oh, sorry. My one arm it's so much harder on the one side than on the other.
Yeah. Normal, Natalie, so you're going to focus a little bit more on the harder side. Do your harder side first, because you always tend to go to your good side. I know I do all the time.
I know, I did
do
that
the
now.
bad side.
I flip forward and do it on the other side.
I always demonstrate my good side to you, and then I have to force myself to do the other side. Normal.
Yeah.
Nicole?
For our pose reviews, we have to do both versions of this pose, correct?
No, one or the other. So either double elbow or single elbow, whichever one works for you.
And on both sides.
And on both sides.
Okay, I have work to do.
Unfortunately, both sides.
Laura?
Lynn?
For those two versions, which is easier on the elbow? Because I'm struggling, my elbow's aching a bit now.
Yeah, Lynn, you just got to take it easy. And if it's the two elbows will be a little bit less weight, but I want you to be careful on the one side where you've got a lot of weight on that arm. So it's your right elbow, hey, Lynn?
Yes.
So when you go onto the right side, maybe something you need to just back off a little bit more. Need it on the left side because you have a little bit more weight on the left arm on the left side. So please don't overdo it and hurt yourself. That's not the point. I don't mind if you just don't do it on that side. Maybe you just make the shapes, feel the hook, do maybe a little lean, but please don't force it. Roxy, and then Kirsten.
Laura, just for our pose analysis, what's your take on Eka Pada Gala?
Yes, do it. It's fun.
Yeah. I thought maybe I was aiming for fun, but I'm thinking of aiming for that. You reckon it's fine?
I reckon that's fine. And I'll go through it now if we have time so that you know kind of how to do it a bit. And I think it's a really nice pose to work towards and also to sequence for. It's an awesome pose to sequence for.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
Cool. Kirsten?
I think it's on the one side, it's much more easier for me to do it with one arm, and then on the other side, it's easy both arms. Is that something I'm allowed to do or not really? Should I have the same on
Right,
both sides?
try do the one arm on both sides. So just work the side where you need the two arms and just challenge yourself a bit. Try, go for it. I'm sure you'll get it. Okay. All right, so the next few are just for fun. If we turn to page 128, I'm just going to do these ones because these ones are fun to sequence for. I'll leave the other nasty two. So on 128, you'll see Bhuja Pidasana. And these two poses go together on page 129, Titibasana, which you discussed with Catherine, right? So they're pretty much exactly the same, except the first one, your ankles are hooked. And the second one, you extend your legs forwards, which requires more hamstring, okay, which is a little bit harder. So we're going to do the two of them together because we don't have loads of time. I'm going to show you how to get into the pose. It is crucial to take your time and snuggle your knees and your thighs as high as you can onto your shoulders or your upper arms. Okay, because you don't want them slipping off. So maybe we would have warmed up your hamstrings a bit and done a whole lot of prep. Unfortunately, we don't have that luxury this evening. Maybe just stretch your legs out a little bit like Chloe's doing. But just understand how to do the pose. Okay, it's a very big pose. Again, it's one of those you'll practice and get over time. It's not something that happens overnight. Okay, I'll show you first. Okay. So, firstly, you can actually use blocks. I'll show you both. So, I'm going to forward fold. My feet are hip distance apart. A forward fold. I'm going to bend my knees a little bit. And I'm going to take one hand behind my calf or Achilles, and I'm really going to snuggle that shoulder underneath my thigh and my knee as much as possible. Then I do the same on the other side. So this is the most important part, is the snuggle. So don't rush it. You see how tightly you can get compact. Yeah. Then you can use blocks, which is quite nice. Your hands need to go far away from you. Look what happens if they don't. If I put my hands behind my heels, I haven't got enough of a lever to sit on. You will fall on your bum, and you'll still fall on your bum a few times. That's part of this pose, okay? But to avoid falling on your bum, you take your hands quite far. Can you see? So my hands aren't going to be able to touch the floor. What I'm going to have to do is sit my bum down a bit, and then can you see I'm going to slowly roll back onto my hands. That is the most challenging part of getting into the pose, that transition, because your hands need to be far back away from you. Now, I'm going to stick my head out, because if I look down, I'm going to fall on my bum. So I'm going to use the weight of my head to look forwards. Now, for the first one, you can actually shuffle your feet on the mat, which is quite cool. And then I've got my ankles to hook. And then I can lift my feet out and push my toes away from me. Okay? And then from there, you can try and straighten your legs. Rounding the spine, and then coming back. Try not to fall on your bum. You will though, so prepare for that. I didn't show you the blocks. Because getting the hands quite far back is quite a challenge, you can also try fingertips on the block like this. So my fingers are off. And that helps a little bit with the hand placement. But it's a bit further to fall on your bum, so be careful. Want to give it a go? Let's go together for the first time. Just for fun. Feet hip distance apart. Forward fold. Take one hand behind your Achilles, your heel. Snuggle that shoulder underneath your thigh. And then do the same with the other side. Don't rush it. Snuggle as your thighs as high as you can up to your shoulders. Then your fingertips reach back, your fingers pointing towards you, yes? Fingers point towards you, far back with your hands. Bend your knees, sit on your arms, and simultaneously rock back to place your hands on the floor, slowly. Stick your head out like a tortoise to stop you from falling on your bum. Head forwards. Hook your feet if you can. You can shuffle them across on the mat to hook your feet. Stick your head forwards. Try and hook your feet. Yay! And then if you want, try and straighten your legs. To straighten the legs is really tough. So just have fun with it. Because it requires a huge amount of hamstring flexibility to straighten the legs. And a little bit of strength as well. Good. Don't overdo it. The biggest thing there is the snuggle. The second biggest thing is to take your hands far back, further than you want to. If your hands are too close, you will fall on your bum. The further you take your hands, which takes some getting used to, the more you can use your arms as a shelf, and it stops you from falling on your bum. Third most important thing, stick your head forwards. Use your head as a weight to stop you from falling on your bum. And it takes lots of practice. And then the legs are just going to go where they go. If you can get your hands to ground on the floor with your legs high on your arms, you're getting there. The first little transition, can you feel as you roll your hands down and sit your bum down? That's kind of the key components of this pose. It's tough.
Laura, I couldn't even get my legs to come anywhere near one another to cross.
You got a good sit though, Belinda. You got a really good sit. You sat into that very nicely on your hands. So thumbs up for that. Well done. Then I use my feet on the mat. So I use the mat and I shuffle, 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 shuffle. With my feet on the mat, I get them to hook. Then lift the feet. Can help. Nice, Jamie. Using those flexy hamstrings of yours. That's it, Roxy, go for it. So of course, yeah, it requires a lot of hamstring flexibility to straighten your legs. So that's why the hooked ankle version is quite fun. The biggest thing is just getting into that pose. So practice, it's fun. Analyze it if it's something you want to do.
It requires a lot of wrist strength, doesn't it?
Oh yeah. Now we're in the crazy zone of wrist stuff. We got a lot of weight on our hands. We got a lot of wrist extension. We're stretching our wrists with all our body weight on them, and it's nasty on the wrist. So it's
Sorry.
Yeah.
The only way to build to load that is to just do these kind of poses a little bit at a time.
Yep,
There's
exactly.
no exercise you could do as such.
Not really. I mean, you know, holding planks on the wall is quite great. Those kind of things, like your handstand training, is awesome. If you do the handstand program, you'll feel your wrists will also get stronger. So handstand work, and then just the more time you spend on your hands. It's just a process. You're probably all feeling your wrists a lot now. I used to cry, my wrists used to be so sore. But then you get used to it, and then you won't feel them anymore, eventually. That's it, Gary. Stick your head forwards. Look forwards, look forwards, look forwards. There, keep your head forwards. There we are. And then do whatever happens with the legs. Try and straighten them or hook the feet. Yes, once your feet are hooked, you kind of send your toes forwards to make it look fancy. But even just being able to put your hands on the floor and not fall on your bum is a big achievement in this pose and takes lots of practice. That's it, Candy. That's it, Celine. Straighten those legs. Okay, cool. So that is your Bhuja, Pidasana, and Titibasana. You understand the most important things to get you into those shapes. And a whole lot of hamstring warming would have been helpful, which we haven't done. So I'm going to talk next about what we call flying pigeons, called Eka Pada Galavasana. I'll just kind of go through the shapes with you. I'm sure your wrists are feeling a bit sore at this point. On page 131. So it's a pigeon leg. So huge amount of external rotation. Okay, it's a very big bum stretch, this one. Then we're going to rest our shin on our upper arms, on our elbows. And now when that back leg goes back, what do I need to do?
Lean forward.
Exactly. If I increase the lever, you got to lean more. So we might not even get to that point today. Your wrist might be sore and you might just want to watch now. Okay, please listen to your body. These aren't important. It's just for fun. Okay, just so you know if you want to sequence for it. So if you were sequencing for this pose, what would you be doing? For the front leg, Micah?
A lot of figure 4 stretches.
Oh yeah, a whole lot of figure 4 stretches. I'll do figure 4 lying on my back. I'll do figure 4 sitting like this. Actually, everyone, if you want to do it just for fun, just come and sit like this in figure 4. I'll do a whole bunch of stuff to prep you because it's such a big stretch. So I'm sitting in figure 4. You've got your right ankle hooked over your left thigh. Hook your elbows over your shin. Chaturanga arms. And now your right toes. Curl your right toes around your left upper arm. That's what you're going to be doing in the pose. Okay. You're going to round your back. You're going to push forwards and look forwards and lean forwards. Feel it on the other side. You're also going to feel a very, very, very big bum stretch going into it. Hook your elbows and your upper arms over your shin as high as possible. Get your shin up. Then wrap your toes around your right upper arm with chaturanga arms. Okay, so this is the shape we're going to be making. Rounded shoulders, rounded back, strong push and lean into the hands. There's a lot of weight on your wrists in this one. Okay, then we'll do it standing as well. Figure 4 standing. Right ankle hooks over left thigh. Hook your elbows below your shin and curl your right toes around your left upper arm. Can you feel that? You're going to use your upper arms like this to rest your shin on like a shelf. Maybe you want to bend down, squat deep, and put your hands on the floor like this. Okay, at this point, listen to your body. Please don't force it. Just stay here if this is enough. Okay, now your right toes, wrap them around your left upper arm. I promise it really helps. Now, place your weight more on your hands as if you're going to go into crow. Look forwards, lean forwards. Push your shin down into your upper arms and wrap your toes. Just feel that. Lean your chest further down and maybe start to lift your bottom foot off the floor if you're feeling strong there. If your hands don't touch the floor, Nicole, squat down on your bottom foot so that your heel lifts up. Like a little malasana leg, squat down. Okay, take a little release. So, coming into the pose. You can feel it on the other side. I'm gonna feel that I've placed my shin on my upper arms and I'm really gonna push down through my toe. Can you see here, Nicole, my bottom foot? I'm gonna lean forwards and squat low. You know in Bikram they do like this little toe stand thing? Kind of like that. But I'm gonna come more forwards, look forwards, lean forwards, and then just see if you can hover the bottom foot. It's gonna be very intense just at that level. Try it on the other side, so standing figure 4. Or just watch if you're sane. Hook your elbows underneath your shin. Look forwards, lean forwards. The more weight you lean forwards, your bottom foot feels lighter. Lean forwards, lean forward. Have a good watch, Lynn. It's very interesting. And maybe your bottom foot lifts. Anyone feeling crazy to try and lift that back leg? Probably not. If you want to lift your back leg, you have to lean more forwards. Yes, Wilma, lift the back leg, lift. You got to contract your bum muscle a lot. Okay. Don't force it. Yay, Belinda. Whoa, okay, well, that's a surprise. Well done, amazing. Go, Belinda.
Is it all right that my foot isn't hooking around my arm?
No, that's fine. I think I cue that a lot because it's really helpful for me. But if you feel like it's not necessary, then all good.
It feels like my shin is like, I don't know, just digging into my arms.
It's so sore. It's so sore. You might have bruises. You may bruise. It's very sore. Your skin does toughen up, I promise. Yeah. But you may bruise a couple times along the way.
Yeah.
Like nice hardcore yoga battle wounds. It's Anna. That's it, Gary. Now send that leg back. As the leg goes back, you need to lean forwards more, so do it slowly. There you go. Squeeze your bum to lift that leg up. Yes, lean more. If you don't lean, your leg pulls you back. So it's just getting used to that. Don't rush it.
You're very close to the floor when you do it.
Very close to the floor. So for me, like, it feels like my nose is just off the floor because I don't have very long arms. So I get close to the floor as well. Okay. So those guys still going? Feel it? Can you feel all the arm balance is about looking forwards and leaning forwards? If you lean enough and you're strong enough to be in that lean and your wrists are okay to be there, that is how it happens. Okay, shake it out. One more pose. Then we'll leave your poor wrists alone. Okay, I'll show you the next one while you take a little break. So on page 133, is Ashtavakrasana. It's like 8 angled pose. Okay. This is quite a fun pose to work on. It is a little bit of a twist because your feet are going off to the side. So there's a bit of a rotation in this pose. It's a bit of a twisting arm balance. It's a lean forwards. And you can see the ankles are hooked. So if I was prepping for this pose, maybe I would do some cool stuff like a cross-legged dandasana and feeling a lean off to one side, right? Or maybe I do the baby grasshopper, which is a made-up pose. but it's kind of a modification of this. And if you've ever done this, where you hook one leg over, I haven't done it in a long time. And then I lean forwards and then I hold this foot. So I'm kind of making the twist shape of the pose. And I've got this foot to stand on, which is quite cool. Okay, so I would do a whole lot of kind of twisted actions and maybe some hooking ankle actions, squeezing legs together. That's quite fun. But most of all, I'm going to talk a lot about hooking my leg over the shoulder. So like a compass, okay, but I don't need as much like side stretch, but I'm going to feel my knee hooking over my shoulder, like a happy baby, like lizard, yeah, those kind of similar shapes. Giving you a lot of tips for sequencing here. So I'm going to hook my knee on my upper arm. I'm going to bring this free hand here out to the side. So I've made a little shelf. Can you see? So from here, I've got the hook, and then I'm going to take my hand out to the side to kind of wedge it in there. And then from here, it's quite good to practice just lifting your bum off the floor, because you're going to need to lift your bum off the floor to come into the pose. So that's good strength work. Okay. Then to come into the pose, I'm going to hook my ankles. So my right one is hooked over my left, or my legs hooked on my left arm. You need to lift your bum and shoot your legs off to the side and lean forwards. And then I've got a chaturanga shape. So you have to be quick in shooting your legs off to the side. A lot of the time I see this and you're just like, oh, hovering in space, okay? You're gonna go legs to the side, lean forwards, quickly, shoot and lean. Okay, we're gonna give it a go. Come and have a seat. Last one, just for fun. So you can take your leg out like a little happy baby. Feel a nice stretch into that hip. You could even do like the little cradling the baby, feeling that work in the hip. You would do a whole bunch of this kind of stuff along the way to prep for this pose. And then you're going to take your leg out to the side, opposite hand to foot, toss the leg over the shoulder. Now your hand, which arm is on that leg, the leg is on the arm, take it out to the side a bit, so you've made like a shelf. And then squeeze your leg down, so squeeze your calf and your thigh to hook that arm, and just see if you can lift your bum here. By rounding your back, leaning forwards, lift the bum. Okay, so that's the first component. You need to be able to lift your bum. If you're going for it, you can hook your ankles. Remember, you're going to shoot your legs out to the side and lean forwards quickly. Are you ready? Lift the bum, legs to the side, lean forwards. Squeeze your legs onto your upper arm. Lift the bum, look forwards, lean forwards. Quickly, legs out to the side. Squeeze your legs on your arm. Yay, Cynthia, nice. That's it, Wilma. Good, look forwards, lean forwards. Shoot the legs out to the side. Yes, quickly straighten those legs, Jamie. Straighten those legs. Okay, that's it, Nicole. Hook the feet, lean forwards, straighten your legs. So it's actually harder with your legs bent, hovering there. As quickly as you can, you want to sweep those legs off to the side. All part of the fun. So this one's a little bit of skill work to feel that sweep. Yes, Chloe. It's one of those you just got to practice and play with. Try it on the other side if you want, or watch if your wrists are tired now. And also just hooking your leg over your shoulder and lifting both feet off the floor is super helpful. Yes, that's it. Look forward, lean forwards. Even just trying to lift your bum. Hook your feet there, Belinda. Shoot your legs off to the left or to your right. Hook the other foot on top, Belinda. Your one arm's in the way. So you're doing Bhuja Pidasana. Yeah. No. You've got two legs involved. You only need one. So one leg straight on the floor, one leg hooked over your shoulder. Sit on your bum. One leg straight. So your right leg needs to be straight out in front of you, sitting on your bum.
This way.
Yes, it's come from the middle of your arms. Okay, now hook your left ankle over your right ankle. Yeah. Okay, so what to play with? Yes, Jamie, that was closer. Nice. Straighten your legs, straighten your legs, straighten your legs. We all get stuck in the bent knees. Well done, guys. That was really tough. You all did so well. Last attempts, otherwise lie on your back. If you want to do it on the other side, go for it. Otherwise, lie on your back, your poor bodies. Neutral spines. That's it, Jamie.
Will you do it one more time for us, Laura, so I can just look again?
You want to see it one more time, Belinda?
Please, sorry.
All good. If you're on your back, windscreen wiper, knees side to side.
Laura?
Yes. Nicole?
Sorry, are you going to do that pose again? Because I was watching Jamie now, and my hand is not in between my two legs. It's like on the outside of my legs.
That's what Belinda was doing as well. So I'm sitting, I bend the leg, one arm, okay? Can you see this arm's gone out to the side?
Yeah.
Other leg is still straight. Okay? And then my bottom leg is going to hook ankles. So I'm only on one arm. This arm is free. Yeah. Then I look forward and I lean forward. So my legs are all on the one side and this arm is free.
Okay.
Okay. Maybe something you choose for your pose analysis for fun. Okay. If you're on your back, move into a little bridge pose, pressing hips up. We've done a lot of rounding, so quite nice to do a little baby back bend. All of this is not important, it's just for fun. So no pressure about any of these big poses. They're all a bit crazy. But this is why it's important to get strong if you want to do silly stuff like this. Lift the hips. And then gently release and unwind. Lie flat on your back for a few breaths. Straighten your legs out along the floor. Hands on the tummy or out to the sides. Close your eyes. Let's just take 10 long, deep breaths, yeah? Make sure you're warm, make sure you're comfortable. 10 breaths in your own time, completely letting go.